Hey everyone, today we're looking into something incredibly important, something that has the power to completely change the way you experience life. Self-love. It's a concept we hear a lot about, but what does it truly mean and how can we cultivate it in our own lives? In this video, I'll be sharing my personal journey of how I went from a place of deep self-doubt and insecurity to a life filled with love, acceptance, and joy. For a long time, I struggled with a lack of self-love. It manifested in many ways: constant negative self-talk, a deep sense of unworthiness, and an inability to set healthy boundaries in my relationships. I was caught in a cycle of self-criticism and comparison, always feeling like I wasn't good enough, smart enough, or pretty enough. This lack of self-love impacted every area of my life. It held me back from pursuing my dreams, and it made it difficult to form meaningful connections with others, and it left me feeling constantly drained and unhappy. I knew I needed to make a change, but I didn't know where to start. I tried various self-help books and techniques, but nothing seemed to stick. I felt lost and hopeless, like I was destined to live a life filled with self-doubt and insecurity. Then one day I stumbled upon a philosophy that would change everything for me. It was a simple yet profound message about the importance of self-love and acceptance. It taught me that I was worthy of love just as I was, and that I had the power to create a life filled with joy and fulfillment. At first I was skeptical, and I had spent so many years believing the opposite, that I was flawed and undeserving. But something about this new philosophy resonated with me. It felt like a glimmer of hope in the darkness. I decided to give it a try to see if it could truly make a difference in my life. And so I began my journey towards self-love. It wasn't an overnight transformation. It was a gradual process of unlearning old patterns and beliefs and replacing them with new, empowering ones. I started by practicing affirmations and positive self-talk. Every morning I would look in the mirror and tell myself I am worthy of love and happiness. It felt strange and uncomfortable at first, but I kept at it day after day. I also started to pay attention to my inner critic, that voice in my head that was always putting me down. Whenever it would start to speak, I would gently remind myself of my affirmations. I learned to challenge those negative thoughts and replace them with more compassionate and loving ones. As I continued on this journey, I began to see a shift in my mindset. I started to believe in myself and my abilities. I started to see my worth not through the eyes of others, but through my own. And as my self-love grew, so did my confidence and happiness. The journey to self-love is ongoing, and there are still days when those old doubts and insecurities creep back in. But now I have the tools to navigate those challenges. I know that I am worthy of love, and I am committed to treating myself with kindness and compassion no matter what. One of the biggest breakthroughs on my journey was learning the power of forgiveness. Forgiving myself for past mistakes and forgiving others who had hurt me was incredibly freeing, and it allowed me to let go of the anger and resentment that I had been carrying for so long, creating space for love and compassion to enter my heart. I realized that holding on to grudges was only hurting me. It was like carrying a heavy weight on my shoulders, preventing me from moving forward. By choosing to forgive, I was able to release that burden and create a sense of peace within myself. Forgiveness didn't mean condoning the actions of others or forgetting what had happened. It simply meant choosing to let go of the negative emotions and move on. It was a powerful act of self-love that allowed me to heal and grow. Another crucial aspect of my self-love journey was learning to prioritize self-care. I realized that taking care of myself wasn't selfish, it was necessary. I started by incorporating small acts of self-care into my daily routine, such as taking a relaxing bath, reading a good book, or spending time in nature. I also learned to listen to my body and give it what it needed. If I was feeling tired, I would rest, and if I was feeling stressed, I would find healthy ways to de-stress. I started to see my body as a temple, something to be cherished and cared for, not something to be punished or neglected. As I began to prioritize self-care, I noticed a profound shift in my overall well-being. I had more energy, I felt less stressed, and I was able to handle life's challenges with more ease and grace. I also realized that by taking care of myself, I was better able to show up for others in my life. Self-compassion was another key component of my journey. I learned to treat myself with the same kindness and understanding that I would offer to a dear friend. When I made a mistake, instead of beating myself up, I would offer myself words of encouragement and support. I would remind myself that everyone makes mistakes and it's okay to not be perfect. This shift in perspective was transformative. It allowed me to break free from the cycle of self-criticism and embrace a more loving and accepting approach to myself. I started to see my flaws and imperfections not as weaknesses, but as part of what made me unique and beautiful. As my self-love grew, I noticed a ripple effect in my relationships, and I started to set healthy boundaries and attract more positive people into my life. I no longer felt the need to please everyone or stay in relationships that weren't serving me. I learned to say no without feeling guilty and to prioritize my own needs and well-being. And this newfound sense of self-worth allowed me to create relationships that were based on mutual respect and support. I surrounded myself with people who lifted me up and encouraged me to be my best self. I also became more aware of the energy I was putting out into the world, and I realized that when I was radiating self-love, I attracted more love and positivity into my life. I became a magnet for healthy and fulfilling relationships. My relationships with friends and family deepened, and I felt a greater sense of connection and belonging. Of course, the journey to self-love wasn't always smooth sailing. There were setbacks and challenges along the way. There were days when those old doubts and insecurities resurfaced, threatening to pull me back into the darkness. But I learned to be patient with myself and to treat those moments with compassion. I realized that setbacks were a natural part of the process, and they didn't mean I was failing. They were simply opportunities to learn and grow. I developed coping mechanisms to deal with those difficult moments, such as journaling, meditation, or talking to a trusted friend or therapist. I also learned the importance of perseverance. Even when it felt hard, I kept going. I reminded myself of how far I had come and the incredible transformation I had experienced. I knew that self-love was a lifelong journey, and I was committed to continuing to learn and grow. Through it all, I learned to be my own biggest cheerleader. I celebrated my victories, no matter how small, and I offered myself words of encouragement when I was struggling. I realized that I was capable of overcoming any challenge that came my way as long as I had self-love on my side. While my own life transformed, I felt a deep desire to share what I had learned with others. I started opening up to friends and family about my journey, and I was surprised by how many people resonated with my story. I realized that I wasn't alone in my struggles and that many others were also searching for a way to cultivate more self-love in their lives. I began sharing my insights and experiences through online platforms and social media. I offered tips on practicing self-care, using affirmations, and cultivating self-compassion. I encouraged others to embrace their imperfections and to see their worthiness just as they are. It was incredibly fulfilling to see how my words were impacting others. I received messages from people all over the world sharing how my story had inspired them to start on their own self-love journey. I realized that by simply being myself and sharing my truth, I was able to make a positive difference in the world. I also started volunteering my time to organizations that supported individuals struggling with self-esteem and mental health issues. I facilitated workshops and offered one-on-one support, sharing the tools and techniques that had helped me on my journey. It was an incredibly rewarding experience to witness others discover their own inner strength and resilience. I believe that self-love is contagious. When we radiate love and acceptance from within, it has a ripple effect on those around us. By embracing our own worthiness, we inspire others to do the same. We create a more compassionate and loving world, one person at a time. Looking back on my journey, I am filled with gratitude for the philosophy that changed my life. It taught me that I am worthy of love just as I am, and that I have the power to create a life filled with joy and fulfillment. It gave me the tools to overcome self-doubt and insecurity and to step into my full potential. My life today is unrecognizable from the one I was living just a few years ago. I am happier, healthier, and more fulfilled than I ever thought possible. I have meaningful relationships, a career that I love, and a deep sense of purpose. I wake up each day with a sense of excitement and gratitude for the gift of life. And most importantly, I love myself. I accept myself, flaws and all. I know that I am worthy of love and happiness, and I am committed to living a life that reflects that truth. If you're watching this and you're struggling with self-love, I want you to know that you are not alone. We all have moments of self-doubt and insecurity. It's part of being human. But I also want you to know that you have the power to change your story. You have the power to cultivate self-love and create a life that you truly love. It starts with a decision to choose love over fear, acceptance over judgment, and kindness over criticism. It's a commitment to prioritize your own well-being and to treat yourself with the same love and compassion that you would offer to a dear friend. It may not be easy, but it is absolutely possible. There are countless resources available to support you on your journey, from books and workshops to therapy. Find what resonates with you and take that first step. Remember, self-love is a practice, not a destination. It's something that we cultivate every day through our thoughts, actions, and choices. Be patient with yourself and don't give up. There will be setbacks and challenges along the way, but keep going. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small, and learn from your mistakes. Surround yourself with positive and supportive people who believe in you and your journey. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. You are worthy of love just as you are. You deserve to live a life filled with joy, happiness, and fulfillment. So go out there and embrace the incredible power of self-love. Your life will never be the same. I am filled with a profound sense of gratitude. I am grateful for the challenges that pushed me to seek a better way, for the philosophy that opened my eyes to the power of self-love, and for the countless individuals who have supported me on my journey. I am also grateful for the opportunity to share my story with you. I hope that my experiences have resonated with you and inspired you to start on your own journey of self-discovery and love. You are not alone. We are all in this together, navigating the ups and downs of life and striving to create a more loving and compassionate world. I believe that self-love is the key to unlocking our full potential. It allows us to live authentically, to pursue our dreams with passion, and to form meaningful connections with others. It gives us the strength to overcome challenges, the resilience to bounce back from setbacks, and the courage to step into our greatness. While we cultivate self-love within ourselves, we create a ripple effect that extends far beyond our own lives. We inspire others to do the same, and we contribute to a collective shift towards a more loving and accepting world. So let us continue to choose love, to celebrate our uniqueness, and to embrace the incredible journey of self-discovery. Let us remember that we are all worthy of love just as we are, and that we have the power to create a life filled with joy, meaning, and purpose. Thank you for joining me on this video. May your path be filled with self-love, compassion, and endless possibilities.